The morning was ordinary until the world tilted. Arjun clutched his chest, a heavy iron clamp tightening around his ribs as he collapsed onto the kitchen floor. Cold sweat rolled down his forehead in the sudden silence. His breath came in jagged, shallow gasps, each one a desperate struggle for air. His left arm went numb, feeling as heavy as lead. Panic flared as his father sprinted into the room, eyes wide with terror. He grabbed his phone with trembling hands and dialed emergency services. "Stay with me, Arjun," he cried. Within 20 minutes, the wail of the ambulance siren tore through the city streets, a scream of urgency against the ticking clock. Deep inside the Hart Castle, Captain Hart was losing a long-fought battle. For years, the coronary arteries, the vital supply lines feeding the kingdom, had been narrowing. Sticky, yellow plaques had lined the walls of these roads, turning wide highways into narrow alleys. This was the cost of years of neglect, leaving only a tiny gap for life-giving blood to pass. That fateful morning, the pressure became too much. A jagged plaque snapped, and a dark clot slammed shut the artery like a heavy stone gate. The lifeline was severed. Downstream, the heart cells screamed for oxygen as the muscle tissue began to starve and turn a ghostly gray. At the hospital, the medical team moved with surgical precision. They wheeled Arjun into the operating room under the harsh glow of the surgical lights. The surgeon worked with steady hands, threading a thin wire through an artery in Arjun's wrist. It traveled through the labyrinth of his body, guided all the way to the dark blockage in his heart. With a focused breath, the surgeon inflated a tiny balloon. It expanded with force, crushing the yellow plaque against the walls. A metal stent was slid into place, a permanent guardian for the road. Suddenly, the artery snapped open. Fresh, oxygen-rich blood surged through the vessel like a tidal wave, flooding the starving cells once more. The rhythm of the heart, which had been erratic and weak, began to steady. The siege was lifted. Days later, Arjun sat on his hospital bed, the world looking different through the window. He stared at a plate of steamed vegetables and brown rice, symbols of a new life. Without hesitation, he pushed away a bag of salty chips. He stood up, feeling the ground beneath his feet, and walked slowly toward the glass. Outside, the park was vibrant and green. He began a steady walk around the hospital corridor, listening to the quiet shuffle of his footsteps. He felt his pulse beat against his wrist, a strong, rhythmic thrum that he would never take for granted again. He reached out and touched his chest, feeling the quiet, steady work of the hero within. From that day on, Arjun chose a different path. He swapped late nights for deep, restorative sleep and traded sedentary habits for the rhythm of daily runs. Captain Hart resumed his tireless duty, pumping 100,000 times a day without a single pause. The kingdom was secure once more, and the roads remained clear. Arjun had learned the hardest lesson of all. The heart never stops working for us, and it demands the same unwavering loyalty in return. Every beat is a gift, and every breath is a promise kept between the king and his castle.